What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ravi Wadden, and in today's video, I have an amazing lease deal to share with you all. Right now, you can get a 2024 Toyota BZ4X XLE for just $179 a month with $3,999 due at signing. So what we'll do in this video is we'll head over to Toyota.com and we'll look at the national lease offer on this particular car and we'll go over it in detail. So if you're in the market for this car or other EVs, I think you'll get a lot of value from this video. Then what we'll do in the second part of this video is we'll run my 1.25% rule of leasing on this particular car, and I'll show you why it's such a good lease deal in terms of value. And then what we'll do in the third part of this video is we'll compare the monthly lease payments to the hypothetical monthly finance payments if you were to purchase this car, and you'll see why leasing this car is a no-brainer, especially when you factor in unknown depreciation. So if that sounds good to you, please like this video and please share this video, and please be sure to subscribe or follow. And the last thing I want to say is that if you're in the market for a Tesla, I know this is not a Tesla video, but I do have a referral link down below that you can use, and you can save up to $2,000 on a new Tesla lease or a new Tesla purchase. But with that, let's go ahead and jump into the computer behind me and talk about this Toyota BZ4X lease deal. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are on Toyota.com, and this is the BZ4X lease offer. As you can see here, you can lease this 2024 BZ4X XLE for just $179 a month. It's a 39-month lease that requires $3,000 or $3,999 due at signing. Now, what you're going to see is that this is a four-wheel drive or an all-wheel drive model. So for those of you that live in the Northeast or places where it snows, I think you'll get a lot of value from having the all-wheel drive model over the two-wheel drive model as well. So this lease deal allows for 10,000 miles a year. And, you know, for those of you out there that say, hey, 10,000 miles a year is just not enough, you can get a 12,000 mile a year lease or a 15,000 mile a year lease as well. And if you actually drive more than 15,000 miles a year, you can actually, drive the lease more than 15,000 miles a year, but you will have to pay an excess mileage penalty. Let me actually go ahead and zoom in here. The excess mileage penalty would be 15 cents a mile. So if we just take out the calculator and do a simple calculation, let's say you drive, 20,000 miles a year and you got a 15,000 mile a year lease, that means you're gonna be driving an extra 5,000 miles a year. So if we multiply that by 0.15, and if we divide this by 12, your monthly payment would increase by about, an effective monthly payment increase by about $62.50 a month. So you can determine on your own whether that makes financial sense for you, but a lot of people think there are mileage restrictions on leases. No, there aren't really technically mileage restrictions on leases. You just have to pay for the excess mileage. But one pro tip that I do want to give you is, don't get a 10,000 mile a year lease if you know you're going to drive 12 or 15,000 miles a year. It's better to just do that 12 or 15,000 mile a year lease up front rather than pay the excess mileage penalty. Now you're going to see that this lease also includes a $17,000 cash incentive that includes the $7,500 EV tax credit. And you get that $7,500 EV tax credit on the BZ4X regardless of your income, and the car's components don't have to be made in the United States. You see, when you finance or purchase an electric vehicle, certain components have to be made in the United States or manufactured in one of the United States trading partners, and there's a lot of rules around that. But you also have to meet income thresholds as well. So if you're a high earner, you won't get that $7,500 EV tax credit. But if you lease this car, I mean, you could be Jeff Bezos and leasing this car and making $100 million a year, and you'd still get that $7,500 EV tax credit. So that's a little bit of a loophole or a workaround in terms of getting that $7,500 EV tax credit. Now, with leases like this, you want to make sure that you qualify for all additional rebates. So as you can see here, there is an additional $500 military rebate. So you want to make sure, sometimes leases have a conquest rebate, sometimes they have a loyalty rebate, so you want to make sure that you're qualifying for all of the rebates. And this lease price that you see right here is not including rebates. So, $1,000 rebate on a car like this, on a 39-month lease, it's going to lower the payment by about $27 a month. So that's pretty substantial, at least in my opinion. And you should, take credit, or at least get the rebates that you qualify for. Don't leave money on the table, because once you sign that paperwork, it makes it very, very difficult to go back and get those rebates in place. Now, as you can see here, moving forward into the fine print, you'll see that this car has an MSRP of $47,734, and that will definitely come in play when we look at the value that this lease provides. And also in the fine print, you're going to see that there are limited quantities of this model available. So, my best suggestion to you guys would be to do kind of a inventory search, nearby within maybe a 300 to 500 mile radius, and see if there's any Toyotas available near you. And don't be afraid to even expand that. Maybe look 1,000 miles out, because shipping really isn't that much to ship a car, and a lot of dealers will happily do that. And if you're getting a good deal, it can easily offset the shipping costs as well. And another thing you need to factor in here is that the lease does not include taxes, license, title fees, acquisition fee of $650. Now, that brings me to the next point. Whenever you see leases like this, you're going to see this $3,999 that's due at signing. Now, what you're going to see is that it excludes tax, title, registration, and acquisition fee of $650. So when you factor in registration, depending on where you live, in the state of Washington, registration on this car would be, let's say, $700. We have pretty high registration costs. And by registration, I mean, license plates. And then you're going to have to pay tax on rebates. So let's say there's about $10,000, give or take, of rebates. You're going to have to pay sales tax on those rebates. So here in the state of Washington, at a 10% rate approximately, you're looking at about $1,000 in rebates. And then you're going to have to pay the first month's payment, which actually is included in the due at signing amount. But then you're going to have to pay the acquisition fee and any other dealer fees. So let's just say $700 plus $1,000. Let's just call it $2,000 that you're going to have to pay on top of this $3,999. Now, a lot of people are going to say, hey, Ravi, I heard it's bad to put money down on a lease. Should I not put money down on a lease? Well, you shouldn't put a down payment down on a lease. My suggestion is to try to put as little of this $3,999, because this is essentially going towards your capitalized cost. It's reducing the monthly payment of the lease. You want to put the least amount of this amount as possible, but and actually try to make it roll in as much of this $3,999 that you can into your monthly payment. But don't be afraid to pay, registration, first month's payment, acquisition fee up front. So, I always tell people, don't be afraid to pay $2,000 or $3,000 if you're getting a good deal. Don't walk away from a deal just because you have to put $2,000 down or $3,000 down. Okay, because a lot of dealers and a lot of these lease programs are going to require you to at least put first month's payment, maybe like $500 or $1,000 down, and on top of that, you're going to have to pay registration and taxes, unless the lease program is specifically stating that it's a zero down or a sign and drive with a $0 out of pocket type of deal. But now moving forward, I just want to show you guys how good of a lease deal this is in terms of value by running my 1.25% rule of leasing. So my 1.25% rule of leasing is just a value metric that I use anytime I look at a lease deal, right? So if you run this calculation and you get a number under 1.5%, that's a good lease deal. That's a lease deal that I would tell my friends, family, hey, that's good. That's a good lease deal. You're not getting screwed over. If you get under 1.25%, that's a great lease deal. If you get under 1%, that's an amazing lease deal. And these amazing lease deals are pretty much reserved for electric vehicles and plug-in hybrids, because they do get that $7,500 federal tax credit. That really, really helps, right? On a 36-month lease, that $7,500 is reducing your monthly payment by about $200 a month, which is huge. But in order to run this 1.25% rule of leasing, what I'll do is take that $3,999 that's due at signing, and let's just go ahead and add $2,000 to that amount for registration, taxes on rebates, and all those things that I talked about earlier in this video. And when I do that, I get $5,999. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a hypothetical situation where I'm taking this $5,999 that's due at signing and I'm rolling it into the lease payment. So what I'm going to do is divide this by 39, since there's 39 months in this lease, and that gives me $153. Now, this $153 is kind of my money down over monthly money down. So if I multiplied this 153 by 39, that would be, the $5,999. Now, I'm going to add the monthly payment of $179 to this amount. That gives me a pre-tax monthly payment with nothing due at signing, kind of $0 out of pocket, of $332. And this doesn't include sales tax. I'm going to multiply this by 1.1 to account for 10% sales tax, which is what we have here in Seattle, Washington, extremely high. If your sales tax rate is 7% or 6%, just multiply by 1.07 or 1.06 instead. I'm going to multiply by 1.1, and that gives me an effective monthly payment of $366 a month. So in a hypothetical situation, I'm paying $366 a month to lease this car, and that's with everything rolled in. The down payment rolled in, registration taxes, everything is rolled into this $366 that you see here. Now what I'm going to do is just verify the MSRP of this vehicle and divide it by the MSRP, which is $47,734. And then I'll multiply this by 100 to make it a percentage, and you get 0.76%. So ladies and gentlemen, not only is this a sub 1% lease deal, making this an amazing lease deal in terms of value, it's at 0.76%, which is just incredible. And, realistically, you're going to get, in the real world, I shouldn't say realistically, but in the real world, right, if you take this to a Toyota dealer, there's going to be some Toyota dealers that will honor this deal as it's written and saying, hey, Ravi, we have an XLE at a very similar MSRP, and we can honor this deal as it's written here. Other Toyota dealers are going to say, hey, there's no way we can honor this deal. You might have to haggle them just to get this deal. Maybe you have to negotiate for a few hours. And other dealers, if you come across or stumble across, the right dealership at the right time, they might even be able to beat this deal right here, right? So even with our deals on DriveMatch, we've been able to outdo the national lease offers on Toyota. So, if you're looking for a pre-negotiated lease deal, be sure to check out DriveMatch.com. It's a company that I co-founded where you can get pre-negotiated lease deals. And we don't have any BZ4Xs on there now, but we did have BZ4Xs last month. But that's kind of the name of the game, right? That's car shopping. You can shop for any car, whether it's a Honda Accord, it could be the same trim, same MSRP. You go to 10 different Honda dealers, you're going to get 10 different quotes. That's just how it works, right? Unless you're doing a direct-to-consumer model like Tesla, Rivian, or Lucid, right? I mean, other dealers, it's kind of the name of the game. You have to negotiate, and you're going to get different numbers. So I always tell people, shop, cross shop, and don't be afraid to, go outside of your neighborhood, outside of your city, outside of your state in order to find a great lease deal like this one. Now, really quickly, I want to show you what the monthly payments on this car would be if you finance this car. So if we use the selling price, if we use the MSRP, as the selling price, which is $47,734, and if we used a 72-month loan term, let's assume you got a 0% interest rate, no down payment. Let's use a 10% sales tax rate, and let's include $2,000 for registration, title, and other fees. And let's include all those fees. That's why we have this box checked here. And if we calculate that, your monthly payment is going to be $757 a month if you finance this car at the MSRP of this vehicle. Now, if you remember, when we did the effective monthly payment on this car, it's $366 a month. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're saving, roughly $400 a month by leasing this car versus purchasing it. And even if you got a $10,000 discount on this car, which is substantial, but let's just say you got a $10,000 discount, your monthly payment's still $604 a month versus $366 a month. And that's why leasing this car makes so much sense when you think about the total cost of ownership over 39 months, which is the duration of this lease term. And if you wanted to buy this car, ladies and gentlemen, this does have a buyout option. I'm not sure what the residual value is on this Toyota. It's usually listed here in the fine print, but I'm not seeing it anywhere. But you do have a buyout option if for any reason you end up with positive equity at the end of the lease. Actually, let me take that back. You have a buyout option at the end of the lease of $18,139. So even if you had positive equity, or if you wanted to keep this car, you could just pay $18,139, and you could keep this car for as long as you want. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call it a video. I truly do think this Toyota BZ4X is one of the best lease deals in the country, and it's definitely, well, the best Toyota lease deal in the country in terms of value. Now, I know a lot of people aren't fans of the Toyota BZ4X because they don't like the charging times, they don't like the range, but if you're looking for like a daily commuter, I think this car is fantastic. I mean, if you're not taking like 350 mile plus road trips, once a month, I think this car is just fine. If you have level 2 charging at home, you can charge it at 7, 8 o'clock off peak hours. You can wake up with a 100% battery every single day. You can get 200 miles plus easy of range out of this car. And doing that, you're going to only pay maybe like $40 to $50 a month in terms of electricity to keep this car running. So you're saving like another $100, or depending on how much you drive, at least I would say an extra or an additional $100 a month. So that really makes this a very compelling offer. So if you have any questions about this lease or leasing in general, please let me know in the comments section below, and please be sure to check out DriveMatch.com. We have some awesome pre-negotiated lease deals on DriveMatch.com, and they're all pre-negotiated, so you don't have to waste time at a dealer. You're getting a good deal, and it gives you peace of mind. But thank you all for your support, and happy holidays to everybody. Financial knowledge is power. Please like and follow for more.